Hello, everyone. Welcome to Online Presenters, a virtual advanced Toastmasters Club where we accelerate communication, presentation, and leadership skills. Tonight's theme is National Old Stuff Day. We had a great time in our meet and greet. You're free to come about 25 minutes before we actually start our day.
This meeting is going to be a bit antiquated because it's National Stuff Day. But before we go into the old stuff, we're going to do some new stuff. We have a prospective member that we get to vote in.
Thank you, Madam President. My fellow Toastmasters, our newest Toastmaster, I hope, Ginny, is an actual name, is an actual date. It's official, voted on March the 2nd. With that, let's move into the meeting itself. The first thing that I want to do is to introduce our tip of the day, which is going to be given by Dr. Andrew Bird. I have no idea what Dr. Andy's.
Most people know that there's the left brain and the right brain, or actually the other way around.
One step on the stage, my hands say they're afraid. Paper trembling like the past. All the words I never asked. Rows of faces in the dark, waiting for a tiny spark. I don't know perfect lines, just a bruise beneath the shine.
So generative AI in the mode of creative music is now available. That's it. That's my tip of the day.
And that's a great tip. Thank you, Andy. Very timely, very pertinent, and very important. There are several people indicating in the chat that they prefer live music or live art as compared to AI generated music and AI generated art. And whereas that can be true. All right, Annie is our timer this evening. Annie, would you please explain what you will be doing as timer? And if you could, then please raise your hand so that you will go up into the upper left-hand corner and we can spot you. All right. We also have an ah counter this evening. Sherry Blake, you are the Wizard of Oz for this meeting. Would you please tell anybody that might need to know what you're going to be doing this evening? Krithika, I believe you stepped forward to do double duty and be our grammarian this evening. Is that correct? Would you please take a moment then to tell everybody who might not know or might not remember what you're going to be doing as the grammarian? Our watcher this evening, this is a role that is somewhat unique to online presenters. Allie, you're going to be our watcher this evening. Could you please tell people what you're going to be doing? Online presenters, our chat monitor this evening is Dr. Sunny Fridge. Dr. Sunny, what will you be doing this evening? Well, I don't know. People automatically think of you when they think of counting votes, just like they think of me when they think of antiquated. So would you please remind everybody what the vote counter will be doing? Jenny, it's official. I hope I'm not spilling the beans, but I saw there on the vote count that most people, in fact, I think it was unanimous. Everybody said, let's have Jenny come in. So welcome to our newest member to online. Our first speaker this evening is giving what I think is to be considered the all-time best.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jenny Ayala, and I like to start by taking you on a small journey to where my story begins. I was born in Quindío, Colombia, South America, a beautiful region. I've always been curious about how things work, how substance react, how tiny details can change an outcome. Something important. When you feel tired, you don't stop. Every piece of evidence tells a story. Every detail matters. My work allows me to use my chemistry background to serve justice and help my community. It's meaningful.
Thank you, Jenny Ayala. I'm going to get that. My tongue is tripping for some reason. Jenny Ayala. Speaker number 2 is David F. Carr, and I have an introduction for him somewhere. There it is. Okay. He's speaking from the Path Not Set Level 1 Mastering Fundamentals, the title, Single Source of the Truth. Talking about a single source of the truth, please help me welcome David F. Carr.
Thank you, Jim. You know, I actually did eventually put in a path and a project. It might have been just a little bit after you were checking the website trying to find that information, which is actually sort of relevant to the topic of my speech, because I was hunting through pathways. I was trying to find, this is Google Gemini's idea of an illustration of single source of truth. Little bits of truth or truthiness are flying into that central part there, and they are reacting, they're exploding, they're creating tremendous sources of energy, of truthiness. Karthika thought it looked a little bit like the nuclear reactor that goes amiss in Spider-Man 2. This is going back to the Tobey Maguire area. You may remember that the reactor goes crazy. Philosophical man who quotes poetry gets little bits of AI chips fused into the back of his neck and goes crazy, goes wild. And this is a concept, and the idea of single source of truth is we don't want the executives debating the budget. And so if you could have a single database that you know is the authority.
Frozen, David. Can you hear me, David?
The transporter beam got intercepted by ion interference. And that's what tends to happen, is that people tack on another collaboration system and another collaboration system. And again, it doesn't always work exactly the way we want it to, but Pathways is the official source of truth where I have to take the unofficial source of truth from our club, but at least I have a record of it when I'm recording it in Pathways. That's the goal.
Thank you, David. Thank you. This evening, Dr. Andrew Byrne. Andy, take it away.
One holiday that was antiquated is Purim, which began tonight and goes till tomorrow. Who has heard of Purim before? I know Graham said that he was aware of Purim. This is around the same time of Lunar New Year's that are celebrated in Asia. Who knows something about Lunar New Year's?
Lunar New Year's, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and guests, also known as Chinese New Year, but that's perhaps politically incorrect. But there are then 12 different cycles which involve fire and air and earth and water and various other things, which I don't fully understand. But this is the year of the fire horse. The worst Mandarin accent that you have ever heard is Mr. Toastmaster.
It says that a lunar eclipse, as you said, maybe you said this, happens when the Earth moves directly between the sun and the moon, and it casts a shadow on the moon instead of disappearing. Now, I probably saw one when I was a little girl.
We often picture floral like green hats. I remember dressing up when I was working in one of my credit union that we celebrated St. Patrick Day. So this is what I would take it as. Some might say those stories are antiquated about my experience, that what I did when I was working. But I think it's been 2 years now that I personally didn't celebrate that day. But yeah, it's just the old memories.
I am the general evaluator. My job is to introduce all of those people who are going to be providing us with feedback for the various events that happen during the meeting. And one of those things that I'm going to be seeking is evaluation of the prepared speeches. I have an agenda. It is hiding here. And on the agenda, that tells me that our first evaluator is Joni Renee Laidlaw. Now, Joni Renee, you were evaluating tonight our icebreaker speech.
Astounding, amazing to get in contact, to get to know them for the first time. Thank you for letting us get to know you. And I look forward to learning more about you and seeing how we can relate when it comes to parenting. I have a boy, you have girls, you might have different tips.
Truncated, restarted, and reshaped. Single point of origin story or single point of information, at least, story from David Carr. So, Kritika, can you please give your evaluation, again, with a time of 2 to 3 minutes? Thank you, Kritika Devi Venkataram.
Well done, David. a single source of truth. You started slowly as a business conversation, a casual conversation for a non-technical audience. You slowly moved in like a pollen filled in the petal that gets me into a new genre of speech. It's the speculative technology. The genre is newly invented through your speech. Though there was a hand gesture intrusion and the book that you have showed us close to your face, it was quite evident that you have formed a petal structure in your speech. It was quite evident where you wanted to move forward. This single source of truth is always nurturing every one of us, and you gave that inspiration, though there was a technological breakdown during your speech. It was wonderful, and it would have been better when you have used the hand gesture and your technology a bit more wisely.
Let's move on to the functionary reports, and we'll start with the grammarian's report. And our grammarian is, again, she's back. Kritika, you have been watching to see who used the word of the night, but also who had flights of fancy and depths of depravity with their language tonight.
Thank you, Graham. Your just said phrase is a good example of usage of English grammar. Hunting through pathways. And these words and phrases were good usages. They also have as the environment or the current situation. The second one is from David, who said transporter being interrupted by ion. It might be technical for somebody, but it's a great usage of word. Meticulous thread was done during his delivery. I urge everyone to watch again his complete table topics. And this is my observation for today.
David, I especially love your background because it's always helpful when the speaker's background matches some context of your speech. The only nuance that I saw was myself, and Toastmaster Zaz decided to stand in front of me, as you can see from my image.
It would have still flowed nicely without having the ands or the excessive ands in her talk. But back to you. Thank you so much.
Andrew Burns shared a lot about AI music tools, and there were several conversations about whether people had a favorite art tool or music tool. And there were compliments about, wow, you hold the rights to this music. That is really cool. So,
and here comes our winners for table topics. Hands for best evaluator. Kritika, Jenny Hagala.
Thank you so much, Graham. And you know what? Your general evaluation comments was some good advice for our Vice President of Education. With that, though, I will be adjourning our meeting.